Alright, now we're going to have fun and get very messy. So I would suggest making sure you have a smock on and have some baby wipes, because you got to make sure you keep your hands dry when you're working with chalk pastel. Let's start with line. With line, just practice. You know, some wavy lines, some straight lines, a little cross hatching. How about varying the pressure and see what happens? Start out going dark and then light, dark and light. And you get a really nice effect with that. Alright, this is all forms of expressive line making. You can sketch, almost like, I always kind of think chicken marks all over the paper. Alright, you would use the, and I'm using hard, I'm using a charcoal pencil, and I've got some very hard sticks of color, and if you hold it on the side, that's how you could start to get the background of the paper. You can kind of build up the layers, and I don't know if you can see with the video, but depending on the different tooth, the texture of the paper, you might see some of that color coming up in the background. What's always fun to do with that is try adding another color over it, which is also good to see how it's going to react to the different colors. Alright, see how nice and blue that is? Now I'm going to go over it and layer it, and what's happening? It is turning to purple. Alright, what happens if we take the yellow? And I hope you know the answer. It's turning green. Alright, what's red, yellow, and blue? Your primary colors. Alright, now we've started building layers, didn't we? I've got like 3 layers going on here. If you do too many layers, what's going to happen is, let's see what happens if I go over this now with the yellow. And I'm going to break it, which is nice. So we've got a really cool color. And I'm going to overlap it with some mark making. I got kind of like a peachy color here. And you can go back over it and change your color. Alright. Eventually, it's not going to pick up any more layers. It's just going to kind of start spreading around, and that's when you change up. You go to a softer pastel. One of the ones that we have in the classroom are Rembrandts, and as I can't see if you can see, I have tons of Rembrandt pastels here. They're soft, and they'll tend to lay on your piece, and I'm hoping you can kind of see the colors. And I can actually add another layer here. I'm going to go right over and see what happens. I'm going to add some mark making. I'm going to push down kind of hard. Almost looks like a little pointillism. These are all different ways to use mark making in your piece. Alright, eventually these are going to kind of get a little messy on you, and this is where you go to the very softest pastel, and it just feels like butter when you work in it. And I'm going to, hope I have enough here, it's very soft and brittle, and I'm just going to flick the color on. Look how bright and brilliant that is. Now if I was to take this color in one of the hard pastels, that's pretty close, a little bit darker, so let's just see if I can find, I don't think I have one much lighter right in front of me. It's kind of the same. Let's see what happens if I push that into it. I hope you can see it's actually darker. kind of muddies. It's not nice and brilliant like the soft pastel works. Again, I've got my little baby wipes here wiping my hands because they were really getting messy blending different colors. I'm going to wipe it off. I'm going to, I think we kind of see this. It kind of, if you start going over your mark making, I think it actually works better when I have a blue pencil down. And this is cross-hatching. Remember when we studied value, the more marks you make, the darker it gets, right? And you can kind of see how I wasn't thinking really too much when I thought about started this. There we go. Now let's take a yellow pencil and see what happens here. I don't know what happened to my yellow pencil, so I'm going to kind of use an orange one. Let's see if... Nope. Notice how this is hard and hard. I'm not seeing a difference. And what else does this tell you? Play around with your colors before you work on your piece, especially if you're not used to working with a medium. But I think you can see we've got some green happening in here. And I'm layering colors. Okie doke. And what do I want to try here, just for the heck of it? Let's see what this really light yellow does. Pops right off the page, doesn't it? Again, it's a very soft layering technique. Let's check out the difference with colors on a white paper.